1969, the most legendary American car ever built, rolls off the factory floor. 2003, the owner parks it inside a Texas barn and locks the door. 2021, someone finally opens that door, and what they find inside shocks the entire car world. This is the story of a 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona, the car that NASCAR banned because it was too fast, the car America never forgot, the car that sat hidden in a Texas barn for 18 years and came out worth nearly $1 million. Welcome to Motexx Garage. Stay with me, because this one is going to keep you hooked till the very last second. First, let me tell you what this car actually is, because if you don't know, you need to. In 1969, Dodge built a weapon, not for the road, for the racetrack. They called it the Charger Daytona. The first thing you notice is that massive wing sitting high above the trunk. Nothing like it had ever been put on an American production car before. That wing wasn't decoration, it was science. This car was designed to cut through air at over 200 miles per hour. The front nose was pointed like a cone, shaped to slice through wind resistance. Dodge engineers put this car in a wind tunnel and tested it. In 1969, when most people hadn't even heard the word aerodynamics, Dodge built this car for one reason: to dominate NASCAR, and the Charger Daytona did exactly that. At Talladega Superspeedway, it became the first car in NASCAR history to break 200 miles per hour. That moment changed motorsport forever, and then came the twist. NASCAR officials looked at what was happening and saw a problem. This car was so fast, so dominant, it was making every other car irrelevant. Races were becoming meaningless. So in 1970, they changed the rules and effectively pushed the Charger Daytona out of competition. Dodge had only built 503 of them. 503. Total. Ever. Today, every single one of those 503 cars is worth millions. Now let me tell you about the man who owned this car, because his story is just as powerful as the car itself. When this Charger Daytona left the showroom in 1969, it was purchased by a Texas businessman. His name was never made public, but people who knew him said he was obsessed with cars. He loved NASCAR, and the Charger Daytona was his dream. He bought it, drove it, and took care of it for decades. Every year it got serviced. Every year it got polished. This was not a man who bought a car and forgot about it. This was a man who loved every inch of that machine. Then, 2003 arrived. He got sick, couldn't get around the way he used to. Driving was no longer possible. So he made a decision: park the car in the barn, and when I get better, I'll take it out again. That day never came. He passed away a few years later. The car stayed in the barn. His family knew there was an old car back there, but how valuable it was, nobody had any idea. 18 years passed. In 2021, a younger member of the family decided it was time to clean out the barn, go through the old stuff, keep what matters, get rid of the rest. The barn door opened. Inside, dust, cobwebs, old tools, stacked boxes, and in the corner, something large covered under a heavy canvas sheet. He walked over, grabbed the sheet, pulled it back, and he stopped breathing for a second. That pointed nose, that enormous rear wing, that B5 blue paint, Dodge's iconic electric blue that only existed in that era. This was no ordinary car. The young man didn't know much about classic cars, but he took a photo and posted it online. And within hours, the classic car community went absolutely crazy. People were saying, "That's a Charger Daytona, a real one." 69. Look at that. That's original paint. Nobody has touched this car. This is unbelievable. Experts were called in. The car was inspected from front to back, and what they found was extraordinary. The original 440 cubic inch V8 engine, still in place. The same one that came from the factory in 1969. The body had no serious rust, The dry Texas climate had protected it perfectly. The interior leather was aged but intact. The dashboard was original. The odometer showed just 67,000 miles, and most importantly, the VIN number confirmed it. This was one of the real 503 Charger Daytonas, not a replica, not a clone. The genuine article. In the classic car world, when a car is found in its original unmodified state, every number matching, every part factory correct, it's called a matching numbers car. These are the cars collectors will pay any price for, because you cannot recreate originality. You can restore a car, you can repaint it, you can replace every part, but you cannot make it original again once it's been touched. This Charger Daytona was exactly as it had left the factory in 1969. Not one thing had been changed. The car was prepared for auction. It was cleaned on the outside, the dust wiped away, but no major work was done, because experts know that the value of these cars lives in their originality, not in their restoration. When the auction was announced, collectors across America locked in. The bidding opened, the numbers climbed, and when the hammer finally came down, this car sold for just under $1 million. The family that thought they had an old forgotten car rusting in a barn walked away as millionaires in a single afternoon. But I don't want to stop at the money, because this car's story is about more than what it sold for. This car is a symbol of an entire generation. In 1969, when the Charger Daytona hit the streets, America was going through something difficult. The Vietnam War was grinding on. Young people were restless and angry, and one of the ways that restlessness expressed itself was through muscle cars. Those big, loud, powerful American machines that made people stop and stare. The Charger Daytona was the king of all of them. The car that got banned from racing because it was better than everything else. That story alone makes it a legend. Not just a car, a statement. And that legend spent 18 years asleep in a Texas barn, covered in dust, waiting. And when it finally came back out into the light, it was exactly as powerful, exactly as significant, exactly as breathtaking as the day it was born. There's always one question that comes up with cars like this. Should you restore it? A lot of people say yes. Fix the engine, put on fresh paint, replace the interior, give the car a new life. But the real experts say the opposite. The greatest value of a car like this is its originality. That factory paint from 1969. That original engine that has been ticking since the beginning. Those original seats that people of that era actually sat in. None of that can be replaced by a restoration. It can only be destroyed by one. Whoever bought this Charger Daytona didn't just buy a car. They bought a living piece of history. Something that no amount of money can recreate from scratch. Now let me tell you something that might genuinely blow your mind. 3 Charger Daytonas we rebuilt. According to experts who track these cars, some of them are still unaccounted for. Sitting in a barn somewhere, parked in a field, locked in the back of an old garage, hidden, forgotten, waiting. America is a big country, and in that country, there are thousands of old barns, old farms, old properties, and nobody knows what's sitting inside them. There's a saying in the barn find world. The most valuable car is the one that hasn't been found yet. And every time a car like this Charger Daytona surfaces, every time someone pulls back a canvas sheet and finds something extraordinary underneath, it reminds the entire world that the treasure is still out there. You just have to find it. That was the story of the 1969 Dodge Charger Daytona, the car that was banned from NASCAR for being too fast, the car that slept in a Texas barn for 18 years, the car that came out exactly the way it went in, and sold for nearly $1 million. Some cars aren't just cars, they're pieces of time. They carry a whole generation inside them, and when they come out of a barn after decades, in the dark, that story comes back to life all over again. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. Subscribe to Motexx Garage. Every week there's a new story like this one waiting for you. Drop a comment below. Do you think there are still Charger Daytonas out there, sitting in barns, waiting to be found? I read every single comment from Motexx Garage. See you in the next one.